thing to think about. Which player on offense will see the single greatest surge in number of snaps between 2023 and 2024? Good morning to you. Good Tuesday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Daily Shot of Steelers. It comes your way bright and early every weekday. If you're into hockey and or baseball, I also happen to offer daily shots on the Penguins and the Pirates, the other two teams in town that I cover. If your thought about a surge in snaps went immediately to Pat Freiermuth, I'm sure you're not alone, and I'm sure you're probably on the right track. He'd certainly be the safest bet based on the stuff that you might recall he told me himself through OTAs and minicamp. But from a pure percentage standpoint, I'll tell you what, it might be the other tight end in the balance. That's Darnell Washington, of course. And no, I'm not suggesting that in some cynical tone because Freiermuth is going to get hurt. I also take the young man at his word when he tells me that he's done a lot of different things within his conditioning program, his off-season regimen, aimed at doubly preventing soft tissue type injuries. He himself, Freiermuth, whenever he brought that up with me, pretty much spat out the term soft tissue. It's something no athlete ever likes to acknowledge having gotten hurt because probably about 99.999% of such injuries are seen as avoidable by athletic trainers and then in turn by, angry head coaches. So we know that much about Freiermuth and his status. What I also learned over the course of the summer is that Washington was challenged to become a little bit more of a perfectionist when it comes to route running, receiving, and all of these other things because he's going to be on the field a lot more. His snap count is going to go higher. There are a lot of things that we can try to guess about the Arthur Smith offense. This doesn't need to be one of them. He's going to go with his bigs, and he's going to go with two tight ends. And he's going to reasonably expect within that both tight ends to catch the ball. Here again, if you look back at the Atlanta offense last year, leading the way in receptions was a tight end. Then came a wide receiver, and then came another tight end. That's what's in play. That's the template. That's the individual that Mike Tomlin and Omar Khan chose to run their offense, which should tell you also how they feel about that offensive strategy. Now, the question within all of this, of course, is, can Washington be that guy? If you're trying to develop a feel for that, off the top of your head or remembering any of the 7 catches, and that's all it was in 2023 that he had, it's probably going to be a positive impression that's left because you just look at him. You look at him and you say, wow, I want that human on the field in my offense. I almost don't care what he does. I just want him standing there. So then in a game, Darnell makes a catch and everyone goes, whoa, Darnell's involved. This is great. This is awesome. Look at Darnell go. He should get the ball more. But as I shared with you guys last year, there also was a sentiment from within over on the South Side that he's not really there yet. This was in 2023. There was some, what's the word I'm looking for here? There was almost a static, non-fluid approach to not so much his catching the football, but catching the football and then making that athletic motion for the next step. He can catch it. You put him somewhere on the field and you're going to throw him the ball. He's standing there facing you. He's going to catch it. The question is, what does he do after that? Because no reasonable coach anywhere would say, you know what, that's just fine. Just do that. That just doesn't exist. So they like what they see when he goes up to get it, but they don't necessarily like what they see once he comes down. Now, the irony of that is, once he comes down, if he does it either with nobody around him or he happens to hit all the steps right, once he gets that momentum going, who wants to tackle that? Which cornerback wants to tackle that? Heck, which player at any position is going to start licking their lips at the sight of this guy storming downfield with flames coming out of his nostrils? Now, all that said, I'm prepared to tear up that information that I got in 2023. I'm prepared to look completely forward with this individual. He's really young, remember that. He's only a second-year pro. And oh, by the way, the initial word and the initial viewings of Washington in OTAs in minicamp was that this looked a lot more smooth. He's not Freiermuth in this sense. The stuff that they've got Freiermuth doing is stuff that I've never seen him do in the NFL. He did it in college, but he hadn't done it in the NFL. But that's okay. They can take each of their tight ends and maximize the receiving capabilities of both of them. When we come back, I have a message for you. It's not J1Q, it's something else. Stay with me. This segment of Daily Shot is brought to you by our good friends at Mike's Beer Bar. They're located on Federal Street, directly across from PNC Park. Mike has more than 500 beers on tap, including from more than 50 local breweries. Stop in and say hello. Tell Mike we sent you. Mike's Beer Bar. Hey, everybody. Instead of J1Q today, I want to take this opportunity to thank you, and I mean that in the deepest, most sincere way anyone could conceivably convey in this setting. Today marks the 10th anniversary of DK Pittsburgh Sports as a company. For those of you who know us only through the Daily Shots, and I understand that can be a bit of a separate vibe, let's just say that's the parent company. Exactly 10 years ago today, I left a pretty cushy newspaper job as a columnist and doing some online radio to become basically my own boss, to form my own company. I didn't like where the print industry was headed. I presume everybody's seen since then why. And at the same time, I felt like there was an audience for the content. I felt like there was a want for fun, informative, engaging stuff related to the Steelers, the Penguins, and the Pirates. And the reason that I'm giving this little spiel here today is that it was around COVID time that, going to be honest with you here, I was so bored, had nothing to do. There were no games to cover. You couldn't even leave your house. And I came up with the idea to do not one, but 3 separate podcasts every morning, one on each of the 3 teams that I cover, while never once, apparently, considering how challenging that might be once the world got back to normal. But I digress. The Daily Shots changed our company in a lot of different ways. We were exposed to people who'd never heard of our written content at DK Pittsburgh Sports, who'd never heard of our company, who'd never heard of me. And it was a whole new world for us. It also was the first time that we'd ever put out any part of our product for free. So now I was hearing, it all felt like it was out of nowhere. I was hearing from people who, let's just say you can kind of tell sometimes when somebody doesn't have a whole lot of money. And I'm hearing from them saying, hey, I really love the show today. Or from the bus driver downtown who tilted open his window and yelled out at me something similar. That was new. And what ended up happening was that not only did the Daily Shot grow on its own, but the Daily Shot helped really, I think, solidify our brand and in turn solidify our independent company. So while it wasn't around for even half of our 10 years, it's a big reason that we made it to 10 years. If you still don't know what I'm talking about, on your phone, go to the App Store, go to Google Play. This is free. I'm not trying to sell you something. And search DK Pittsburgh Sports. Spell out Pittsburgh. Don't be lazy. Download that app that shows up. I'm going to repeat this. It's free. On there, you'll find Not just all of our podcasts, all of our videos, but also all the articles that I write that our staff writes. We cover these teams everywhere they go. Haven't missed a game in 10 years. And we'd love to have you along for the full ride. Right there, all in one spot. One more time, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Thank you. And if you're interested in celebrating with us, if you happen to be in the area, we're having one heck of a bash today from 12 to 6 p.m. at 224 Fifth Avenue, downtown. No invitation needed, no nothing needed. Just show up and say hi. We'll be back with a normal edition of all of the Daily Shots tomorrow.